they call it the counterculture, and I think there is a mindset that's kind of like, please let me do what I'd like to do, and I understand that's also what patients are saying. Like, if this is really helping me, why can't I just do that? Do you have a problem with that? But I think now, our legislature has said, yeah, you can. Here's the way to do it.
Right,
It's like, well, that's not really everything I see being done in that fashion.
Right.
And on the same hand, it's not very clear. That there hasn't been some very clear-cut, do all this, and you're fine, and that's what you're allowed to do. And you don't want to be like, only do 1, 2, and 3 when there could be 1,000 things that are done. So it is a difficult job to try and write those legal aspects carefully, properly, and not let them be lended to abuse. But I think we are seeing plenty of abuse in many ways. Like we certainly see, it's...
First of all, why don't you introduce yourself
Sure.
and the name of your company?
Okay, yeah. I'm Dr. Jeff Raber from the Wercshop. And I guess a little bit about myself. I have a PhD in organic chemistry. I had a Bachelor's of Science in biochemistry before that from a small school in Pennsylvania, Lebanon Valley College. And I moved out to California to get my PhD from the University of Southern California. I graduated there in 2002 with my degree. Stuck around there for a little bit with my advisor, starting a company with him, small molecule building blocks for the pharmaceutical and drug discovery industries. After that, I moved on to a different technology, a manufacturing technology for fine chemicals and generic drugs, also for branded pharmaceuticals. So it's a way of making things much faster and more efficient. And I still work with that. And about 2 years ago, we certainly started planning, a little bit before that, about 2.5 years ago, we were planning on starting a laboratory for medical cannabis. It was just the kind of thing that I'd become aware of the laws and the industry, basically, in its very nascent form back then. And I knew my brother was working in construction and asked to build out a storefront dispensary. So in the context of that, you're like, well, what's that? Wait a minute, let me see what this really is. And let me be sure none of us are going to get in any trouble or hurt in any sort of way. And really started diving right into it, finding out about the legal aspects, Prop 215, SB 420, what they meant. I took classes at the MCC directory, great place to learn a lot about things.
What is the MCC directory?
So it's run by a wonderful woman named Liz McDuffie, who's been around for quite some time, trying to educate everybody on the laws and everything. It's a little training school, and yeah, it's a great resource center. In fact, I'm teaching classes there tomorrow.
Where's it located?
In Pasadena.
Okay.
So it's on Mentor Avenue in Pasadena. Yeah, I think it's 44 or 50, one of those numbers, Mentor Avenue. And it was pretty much where we got our start. We learned about Proposition 215, SB 420, what the law really means, and how confusing it can be. I became a patient because I have an irritable bowel and chronic neck and joint pain from just sitting at the computer, probably too much with poor posture. And as I read the science on cannabis, just quickly became convinced that there's a lot that can be solved through the use of this medicine, but none of us really know what we have. And as you become a patient and go to dispensary after dispensary, and you're trying to figure out what does this really mean, it's mass confusion.
Right.
So I've got a guy that doesn't know what he has, telling me what he thinks I believe I should get when he doesn't know much about me or what I have either. And it becomes would you like top shelf? What's top shelf? Like, I want what works for me. How do patients find what's going to work for them? How do we figure out what's going to really help every patient? I think that's the ultimate goal. How do you find out what's working best for them? And really, what's here? And as importantly as what's here, what's not here? I don't want pesticides, I don't want bacteria, I don't want anything that's going to hurt me or harm me. And you are now trying to provide things to immunocompromised or sick individuals that is important to protect them. And I don't think it's anyone's intent out here, whether they're doing things the right way or the wrong way or whatever it may be, whatever their choice. I don't think anyone wants to hurt people. So there are those silent things that can inadvertently hurt people, like aspergillus and mold and other bacteria, E.coli type things. Let's make sure no one's hurting anybody else, and then let's try to solve and figure out what's best for each person.
So that's part of your work in diving into and testing the marijuana. What strain works best for
Yes.
what condition?
So
Oh,
we,
really?
yeah.
That's
So
fascinating.
that was where it kind of starts. You're like, I can't find what's right for me. What am I getting?
Right.
How could this guy figure it out? And how can somebody really figure it out when they have no way of having the conversation that we could?